Hey guys, it's Francine Simone, and today I am here with a book talk slash writing tip. I was watching a video by Lala from Books and Lala, and it was titled 5 Things I Hate About YA Books. And it inspired me to make this response video, but with a twist. It's going to be about the same 5 things that she hates, but instead of just talking about why I dislike them as well and why she disliked them, I'm also going to talk about why we do them as writers and why we need to stop. So please check out her video down below because it's really good. Even in the comment section, there's a lot of good discussion going on. How often do we see amazing discussion? So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get into the video now and talk about the 5 things I hate in YA books, which are the same 5 things Lala hates, and how we do them as writers and why we need to do better. So thing number 1 is the female protagonist who has no personality whatsoever. So the reason why Lala hates this, and I think everybody hates this, is because nobody wants to read about a chick who is literally just a doorknob on the wall. You don't even know her. Just as bland as a paper cutout. Nobody wants to read anybody that way because people aren't really like that. Actually, that's a lie. You know who are like that? The people who are lost in themselves, don't really know how to be themselves, don't know who they are. We don't see their internal struggle, just like we're not seeing it on the book. And the only thing we think about those people is they're fake as fuck. All they do is parrot back to us the things that they think we like instead of the things that they like. So, why do writers do it? There are 2 main reasons, I think. One is it's a lack of work. It's a lack of work on the character. It means that you don't really know your character that well if she's that bland. It means you're just writing from almost a Mary Sue type point where it's just you're kind of acting out on the page the things that you want to see in a story instead of acting out the character's actual life. You're not being authentic with the character because you don't really know the character yet. And to be honest, that happened to me when I wrote my first book. In my first draft, Katie was very bland. I didn't know who she was. I didn't know all of the workings and the innings and outings of her. What is she, a restaurant? I didn't know all of those things. So when I was revising and doing the developmental edits, I really had to think and dig down deep. Who is she and why does she react every way that she does? What was her past like? What has made her become this type of person? And she ended up with, this is my point number 2, authors really don't like to do this, is she ended up a strong character who had opinions and personality traits that could be considered annoying and or distasteful to the average person. And as point number 2, when a character has a strong personality trait that someone doesn't like and it's a negative one or a flaw, they could have a million great personality traits, but if they have one flaw that's very strong, people dislike it. Mainly because she's a girl, and girls aren't really allowed to have strong personality traits without being criticized for it. And I'm not just making this shit up, I'm totally serious. Almost all of my beta readers complained about Katie being selfish. Now, they all loved the story, they all loved the book, but Katie was selfish, and they really didn't like that about her because you know what? Tristan deserved better. Now I had to stop whenever I would read something like that, like Tristan deserved better, that they loved Tristan, or that, Tristan was amazing, my jaw would drop because he was just as selfish, just as irritatingly mean. I mean, Katie generally had very good solid reasons for disliking Tristan for most of the book. He was a dick. In fact, Katie and Tristan are very similar in the fact that they are both bullheaded and they can both be mean and antagonistic towards each other especially. Yet people disliked Katie for it, but they loved Tristan for it. I was so confused for a while until I realized that, because people are sexist. And you know what was crazy is most of my beta readers were female. In fact, most of my male beta readers didn't mind Katie being annoying. That's kind of crazy. I just realized that most of the male beta readers, they did not mind Kate. They never mentioned Katie being annoyingly selfish or anything like that. Talk about insightful. So I think, especially as female readers, we tend to criticize females who have any type of flaws. It's it's innate. We've been criticized our whole life, or we've been told that people will criticize us for being this way or that way. So we have to be likable, be kind, be helpful. We're told to be all of these things. You're never told to be, be dramatic, be insightful. Girls just be girls. So as a writer, it's very scary to put that on the page because we're afraid that people will criticize you and criticize your character and hate your book. However, neither of these are reasons on why you should have a protagonist who is void of a personality. The reason why you should always aim to write a character who is authentic is because, as I said before, people are drawn to authentic people despite their personality flaws, despite their strong characteristics. We love authenticity because it is real. It's a fundamental truth of the world. The more real something is, the more we love it, the more we need it, the more we want it. So don't be afraid to have a character that has a strong personality or someone who is opinionated. This is something that you need in your writing. However, your character will and always needs to have consequences that go along with whatever kind of trait that they have. Katie was selfish, and a lot of terrible fucking shit happened with her personal relationships because of it, and so she either had to give or change. So don't be afraid to make your characters authentic. Never be afraid of authenticity. So the second thing that Lala and I both hate about YA books is a female protagonist with no personality flaws. Either her hair's too frizzy, or she's clumsy, or she's, too organized. Those flaws don't work because they're not real flaws. They're quirks, and that's it. This really leads into point number 1, so I won't spend so much time on it, which is when your character does not have personality flaws, it leads into the character making personality flaws for your non-flawed character. Why? Because your character will still have flaws. That flaw is called being either vain, being shallow, or the worst one of all, being a Mary Sue. Because it reads off as fake and you lack the authenticity. So this always leads back to authenticity. You have to have authentic characters, and authentic people all have authentic flaws. So this one's a really quick one. Have an authentic character. Don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid of having a personality flaw that, really leads into something. So again, if you are confused on this, go back to number 1 and listen again to why I said authentic characters are a must. The third reason is drastic changes in character. But what she gets at is drastic changes in character without the proper development. So the reason why your character should not change drastically is because that's highly unlikely. It's highly unbelievable. Think about it. Do you know someone who drastically changes for no reason or another? So the reasons why we fall into these plot holes is for plot convenience. I read a book recently where the girl was like crazy and, lifeless in the beginning of the book, and then a guy like drags her and saves her through half the book, and all of a sudden she's like Queen Bee, and I was just like, bitch, no, that's not how it works. I didn't see any type of personal development. You were just switching back and forth from crazy to normal, and it's not believable. I don't believe it. DNF, see you later, not finishing that series. And that's what will happen to your stories. You're not going to connect to as many readers as you possibly can because they're looking at your books and thinking, it's not believable. So again, character authenticity, authenticity, authenticity. Without an internal struggle, you have no chance of making your story impactful or profound. And if you were thinking, well, why does my story have to be impactful or profound? I'm gonna tell you, because if it's not a good story. It's not great. Each of our lives matter. Each and every one of us is impactful and profound in our own ways, and we're all on our journey to discovering that. And that's what your book is about. No matter what story you're writing, every character in that story is on their own journey to profoundness. And the only 2 roads they have to take are towards it or away from it. And all of those include struggles. All of those include issues and consequences. And we have to see that. Without that, your story lands no chance of being impactful or profound. And any type of character changes have to have those types of development, and we have to see those types of internal struggles that the character goes through to get from point A to point B. Don't just drive me there because I won't believe it. The fourth thing is fake friendship breakups. Now, the problem with the way that most YA books do this is it's done as a plot device. It's not done authentically. Again, authenticity. If your main character is having a life-changing or life-altering event that is taking their attention away from their friends, we need to see that. We need to see the trust that is starting to break down between them. Think about the times that's happened in your life. It wasn't done as a plot device. It happened organically. If you can mirror the way that happens in life, people connect with that. And that connection, that's what builds the profoundness. Always strive for the authenticity in those moments. And reason number 5, this is actually a huge topic, and I might even make another video on this one day, but it is diversity in YA books. A lot of people are complaining about diversity, and rightfully so. And a lot of writers complain that they don't know how to write diversity, and rightfully so. It's a really big convoluted topic because the one thing we never really ask ourselves is, what do we mean by diversity? Do we mean that we want people of diverse backgrounds or people with diverse skin colors or sexualities? One of my favorite books when I was reading YA, and I just now realized this actually, is the Pendragon series by DJ McCall. His main character is a white heterosexual boy. However, the love interest, spoiler alert, as he goes through, is a black heterosexual girl. But the entire story, because it's very fantastical, has nothing to do with her being black. She's just a warrior kick ass chick, and he's just a warrior kick ass boy. People often say, well, you can't really write a book about black characters or gay characters without talking about their struggles of being that, because it's a part of their life. That can be true for a lot of people, but it can also be untrue for a lot of people, such as for me. Now, as you can tell, obviously, I am one, a girl, two, black, and I'm also in an interracial relationship. Okay, talk about diverse, right? The only thing I'm missing here is sexuality. I don't constantly live my life with the black lens. Yes, I'm black, that's my skin color, but I don't live my life thinking about all of the microaggressions that I may or may not be suffering from. I live my life thinking about books and writing and all the fun shit I like to do. That's the freedom you get with being an individual. What is diversity and what do we want with it? What do we mean? And what are we willing to accept and what are we ready to accept? Because honestly, there is no difference in a fantasy book with a white character and a fantasy book with a black character, except for we seem to think that the white character has the freedom to love who they want and to do what they want and to have an identity full of 1,000 things without it tying into their color. When really, those other characters and those other people in real life deserve the same type of freedom. They just have to give it to themselves. And other people have to stop forcing those characters or people in your real and everyday life to fit into those labels and to identify themselves just as that, because that's very entrapping. So, why do writers do it? Why don't they include diversity in their books? Why is everything white and cisgendered? Because, and I know it sounds like an excuse, but people write what they know. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you write the skin color and the sexual experience that you know. It just means that you write what you want to read. People want to see themselves in a story. So I think it's perfectly fine if white authors want to write about white characters in heterosexual relationships. That's nothing to be ashamed of. However, given what I just said, I honestly think that when you don't have a diverse cast, it means you don't really know your characters. I understand why authors are reluctant or scared to put these things in because they feel like they don't know the experience or that they're going to shortcut or offend somebody. But I would argue that that's because you don't know your character and you aren't being authentic. You were just trying to capture a stereotype instead of a person. So again, it always comes down to authenticity. Having authentic characters, having an authentic plot in an authentic world. And all of those things put together, you won't have to worry about diversity because you're capturing the truth of the world. You're capturing the truth of your world. And as always, your writing should just be another artistic form of capturing the poetic truth. Okay, guys, so I know this was a really long video. It's just all of these topics are really important to me. So, I really hope you liked the video. I really hope that you check out Books and Lala's video because it's really good. I really enjoyed it. And you know what? It's clear and it's obvious that I could go on talking about this stuff all day. So just tweet me at Francina Simone with any type of questions or comments. So as always, don't forget to subscribe and I will talk to you later. TTYL. Ta-da for now. Bye.